Hey everyone, it's your boy the Study Guide. I'm back with another video. So around this time, you guys know that Derek Chauvin was sentenced to 22 years in prison, right? And wow, this is a celebration because we got what we came for, right? We protested, we made sure our voices were heard, we did all that. We were in the streets chanting his name and wanting justice. And the media slandered us and trying to make us out as a big terrorist group. And while there were a few incidents where things were taken too far, you also have to remember that police officers were out here attacking us when the protests were peaceful, right? And so you can't remember that. And as such, even though that happened, we didn't give up. We kept on going and going and going and going. And in the end, Derek Chauvin was charged to 22 years in prison. So we got what we wanted. Now, even though this is a big step, in my opinion, because it goes to show that if people out here, especially the race soldiers, choose to willingly kill a black person, they will not be taken off lightly. In some cases, they could end up just as Derek Chauvin did. And right now, in my opinion, this is making them a lot. This is making them nervous, really nervous, right? So this goes to show what type of time we on. Because first they kept trying to slander us. They kept trying to put us down. They kept on chanting all lives matter. They did everything they could to uh, destroy our message. But we wouldn't let them. And as such, over time they couldn't just ignore us anymore. So we as a black society, as a black nation, we were able to be loud enough to the point where they had no choice but to get Derek Chauvin a sentence. And that's exactly what they did. They had no choice but to throw one of their own under the bus. And the thing that gets me is when time came for when the judge asked if Derek had any last words or anything like that, whatever he said. Okay, so yeah, when time came for Derek to speak, basically, he didn't even apologize for what he did to George Floyd. He didn't do any of that, right? And to me, that goes to show how deeply rooted white supremacy really is. Because even though he's on trial for what he did, he refused to acknowledge it. I mean, sure, he apologized to the family of Floyd, yeah, but he didn't apologize for his actions. And to me, that speaks louder than words, right? So right now, Derek is one out of thousands. But let's be real here. Derek will probably only serve 2 to 5 years in prison. Probably 5, right? In my opinion. Probably 5. But either way, he's going to get out on good behavior. And that's just a fact. He's going to get out. He's not going to serve his full sentence in prison. He's going to get out. And we're hoping that over time we will forget about Floyd, right? And that's what they're counting on, is for us to forget. And as a black nation, we cannot forget. Because at the end of the day, Floyd could have been any one of us. And it can still very well happen at any time. And as such, we need to stay on code. And we need to remember what happened to Floyd. Because what Floyd really revealed is how white supremacists um, really operate. Because at the end of the day, the race soldiers did their job, right? And they're confused because now they're locked up for doing what they were trained to do, which is killing black people. And so now they're lost out their minds. They don't know what to do now. And not only am I talking about the ones locked, not only am I talking about Derek and his accomplices, but I'm talking about all the others, right? And at this point, you have people still on the internet typing out that Derek died of overdose. No, Floyd died of overdose. Over that, they will keep on saying that over and over again. That Floyd died of overdose. That's what they're still saying. That's what they're still saying. And why are they saying that? They're doing this to protect their soldiers. And also, they're probably really into authoritarianism. I probably pronounced it wrong, but they're probably really into obeying the law and shit like that, right? They're really they love the government basically. Like these niggas, they love their government. They love their boys and brew because at the end of the day, they're doing what the public wants them to do. And so when when one of them is locked up, the white supremacists will do their best to defend him because a person shouldn't be locked up for doing what their job entails, right? And that's not always the case. People defending Salvin don't always have that type of mindset, but in my opinion, we're a bunch of fucking idiots. Every single one of them are a bunch of fucking idiots. Like, even my neighbor feels like that Floyd was murdered, right? Even my neighbor does. And I told you guys about him in my other video. Even my neighbor can agree that Floyd was murdered. But then you have people online like, no, it was overdose, blah blah blah, it was overdose, blah blah blah. Like, it fucking blows my mind how loyal people are to their oppressors. Because at the end of the day, the government don't give a fuck about you. The government doesn't really give a fuck about us, especially us. But at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck about anyone. And so it really surprises me how far people will go in order to make their oppressors happy, and how ignorant I'm gonna say, how ignorant they became from this left versus right ideology that consumed their entire being. Instead of seeing the bigger picture, all they see is all they see are people who are opposing their beliefs. And at the end of the day, that's pathetic. That really is. That's sad. That's ludicrous. I've seen it firsthand how vicious people are to one another when it's revealed that they are on opposite ends of their political parties. And it really blows my fucking mind. It really does. But either way, Floyd was murdered. That's a fact. That's not opinion. That's a fact. Floyd was murdered. And we need to always remember that. And no matter what people say otherwise, you cannot believe them. Because at the end of the day, they're only doing their belief is solely coming from the media, their party, and their willingness to believe that everything is A-okay for them and everyone else, even if the facts are right in their face. So at the end of the day, we need to always chant Floyd's name, so that we can remember what he stood for, and what he stood for as one of us, and that's a black person who, at the end of the day, was killed by law enforcement. Why? Because at the end of the day, the law is very on our side, and Floyd is evidence of that. And you'll have people online, and I've seen this, and I've seen like a lot of people saying the same fucking thing over and over again, like broken machines. Now Floyd wasn't a hero, but he didn't deserve to die. Like over and over and over and over again. That's what they say continuously, over and over and over again, like broken records. And it became to the point where, in my opinion, they're just a fucking bunch of robots. Right? I think they're just like bots on the internet, right? Because you would think that if a person goes in the comment section and he sees that he sees that his opinion was already commented a few dozen times, that he wouldn't feel the need to put it there. But nope. Apparently not. And while I will never willingly defend Floyd's actions, I believe that at the end of the day, Floyd was more human than the people who killed him. Because a human being, we have flaws. We have a lot of flaws. And no one displays this better than Floyd himself. And while saying that, it is not like we as individuals don't have flaws either. Not as big as Floyd's, but still, right? And I'm not saying this to defend his actions. I'm saying this as an eye opener, right? Because at the end of the day, you're a human too, and you did just as bad. No, and you did mistakes, just like Floyd did. Mistakes that you regret, and that you mistakes that you regret, and that you'll sometimes have other people bang it on your head over and over again repeatedly. You always have those types of people. So it's not like you're any better. Well, technically, you can argue that that's the case, because at least you didn't put a gun up on a pregnant woman. So yes, there's that. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, as a human being, just like Floyd, you're not any better. You may be better for choosing better decisions, but at the end of the day, you're human too. You're human too. And the fact that people want the officer to get away with what he did because of Floyd's past is fucking ridiculous. It's really sad. Really sad. Really fucking sad. And I already talked about how they want to be on a type of mindset so they can kill more black people and get away with it. Like that's their whole brainwashing tactic. And so don't fall for it. Don't even acknowledge it. Just ignore it. Because that's what I'm doing. I don't sit there and argue with people. Because at the end of the day, they're gonna disagree. Even if I have all the facts, they're gonna sit there and they're gonna disagree. And to me, it's not worth it. Because I know the truth. And as long as you know the truth, and you balance that truth by looking at the facts, you'll be alright.